Welcome back to the Bad Influence Podcast. I'm Jordan Banderas. On today's episode, I want to ask you a simple question. And that question is, do you know who you are? But I'm not talking about your name or anything like that. What I'm talking about is whether you know what you stand for based on your beliefs, your values, and your mindset. So, after asking myself this question for a really long time, my answer is a resounding yes. So, as someone who didn't know myself at all, I want to talk about this because I feel like it's very important. I can tell you that knowing yourself is crucial and important in order for you to have a good life or a happy life. Because when you don't know who you are, you give others the power to define you and to shape your identity. Because you let others literally tell you what to believe, what to think, and what your value is, and what your value should be. And that's not good. Because the truth about life, or in this case, about your life, is that only you can truly understand your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own values. Nobody else is going to be able to understand that for you because it's your life. So, by relying on others to define you, you run into the risk of adopting their insecurities and biases. So, you start thinking like them. And literally, that's giving them your power because it's not a good place to be. I've been there. I've been there. You feel powerless. You don't know anything about yourself. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to think. So you feel empty. That's how I felt, at least. And trust me, your life is not going to be happy if you allow this. So, because of my own experience, I encourage you to take the time to get to know yourself. Now, it's not always easy. It's never going to be easy. That's what life is. It's never easy for some reason, right? You know what I'm talking about. But when you know who you are, the best thing happens. You can actually live your life on your own terms. You can create your life based on what you like, based on what you think is right for you, based on your values, based on your own value, and based on everything, but everything about you, not about anybody else. And one thing that I do want to point out on today's episode is something that I have seen a lot lately. And I've done that in the past. That's why I also want to bring it up. Because when you don't know who you are, you let others define you. And your sense of self is built on a fragile foundation. I did this, and like I said, it's not a good place to be. Because it's like building a house on sand. And what happens when you do that? It's bound to crumble under the pressure. And when someone challenges or criticizes the identity you've constructed based on what everyone else is telling you, it can feel like a personal attack. I used to feel like that my entire life. That's why I got in so many fights. That's one of the reasons why I was so aggressive, because I felt like the whole world was against me. I felt like everybody was attacking me. But then I realized that the reason I felt like that is because deep down, I knew that what I was feeling, what I was thinking, everything that I was told about me and what to think and what to believe wasn't exactly who I was on the inside. And I don't want that to happen to you because, again, it's not a nice feeling. And you can't really live your life like that. But when you realize that you're not living your life, one of the things that is going to be hard is to realize that the life you've been living is not authentic, that it's not you. But when you take the time to understand your own beliefs, your own values, and your own passions, you start to build a sense of self that is grounded and resilient. So nobody can tear that down because you build this foundation based on what you want, what you think, what you see as valuable. You base everything on you, and that's not selfish. So you create this foundation that is so strong that when someone attacks you, you're just going to be like, that person doesn't know me. Fuck him, fuck her, you know? Just like that. That's one of the things that I have been able to do recently, and it feels so good. Because, I mean, I work for quality control, so people don't like me at all. And another thing that I want to mention is that when you know yourself, it gives you the power to overcome any fucking obstacle in front of you. Because when you know who you are and what you stand for, you don't give up on the first sign of a struggle. And I can tell you, this is so true because now that I know who the fuck I am and what I stand for, I have been able to get through so many obstacles because when you're so confident about yourself, you dig deep and find the strength to push through anything. Like literally, nothing can fucking stop you. You don't rely on others to boost your confidence or validate your worth. You see it within yourself. You look at yourself in the mirror and you are proud of what you see in that mirror because you know what it takes to make it through whatever challenge or whatever goal you set for yourself. You know what it takes to get there. And those beliefs give you the power to keep going. And that is super, super important to keep going. Even if you're starting to get to know yourself and you don't like it, keep going. That's my best advice for you. Because when you make it through, it's not just the sense of accomplishment that feels good. I'm going to be honest. It's the knowing that you did it on your own. It's the knowing that you don't need validation from others because you know who you are and that gives you all the assurance you need. So nobody has to assure anything for you. You're so fucking confident about yourself that you're like, I knew I could do it. I knew it was going to be hard, but guess what? I fucking did it. Another thing that I want to mention, and I recently noticed this. And it actually stood out to me, and is that it seems like many people can't handle any criticism at all. I've seen it on YouTube, social media, and pretty much everywhere. And what I'm seeing is that people are disabling comments on their posts or getting defensive when someone offers constructive feedback. Like they don't want to hear anything that goes against what they believe about themselves. They don't want to hear any criticism, anything like that. And when I see that, I think to myself, because again, I would have done that probably if I was doing the podcast years ago, I would have done that. So when I see that, I think to myself, these people don't really know themselves. because when you don't have a strong sense of self or what makes you you or anything like that, any criticism will feel like an attack. Any criticism will feel like, again, the world is against you, and you don't want to hear that. You don't want to deal with that. And the worst part of this is that you won't even take constructive feedback, which is necessary in order for you to move on to the next step. So here's the thing about this: when you don't allow yourself to be open to feedback, you miss a lot of information about yourself. You missed out on so many things that are going to help you grow and get to the next level, because that's why I always ask for feedback, and I do get it from you guys, and I love it, because I'm like, this is what helps me make this better. This is what helps me get better, and it's going to help me get to the next level, which is going to make the podcast better. So that's why I see in this type of situations is like, you're turning down free advice from someone who can see your blind spots. And literally, if you can see your blind spots and someone else can, and they're telling you, hey, you're missing this because you're doing this wrong or whatever, then you're not going to be able to fix that. And then people are going to stop listening to you or stop watching your videos. And there's a lot of things that could happen. And then you're going to feel bad about that. Because when someone gives you that type of advice, that's the kind of advice that is invaluable. You know? It's the type of advice that you need. As someone that has gone through it, I can tell you it's needed. You need that kind of feedback. You need that kind of feedback and that kind of advice. So what I recommend you to do, and this is what I had to do a long time ago as well, instead of getting defensive, take a step back and try to understand the perspective of the person giving you the feedback. Ask yourself, is this person seeing something that I'm not? And I know it can be hard to hear, but it can be precisely what you need so you can take your next step forward. And if someone is giving you bullshit advice or anything like that, like something that is not gonna help you grow, just take it as that bullshit. You don't need to take that to heart. If it's just bullshit or anything like that, then let it go. Literally, let it go. And I want to share this story with you guys, because this is in regards to knowing yourself. So when I started my job a few months back, I fucked up bad. I let bad candy get shipped to one of our customers, one of our big customers. So my boss was pissed off at me. Everybody was pissed off at me. I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, I made a mistake. Let's move on. That was my thinking. And another reason why I was thinking that is because I was new. I was fairly new. This happened within the last, and I mean, no, it happened within 3 days of being by myself at my work, where I wasn't being trained or anything like that. But the worst thing is that one of my coworkers was a real pain in the ass about it. This motherfucker wouldn't let it go, and he kept bringing it up throughout my entire shift. He was all like, oh, you fucked up, you messed up, whatever. Like, he was trying to, like, make fun of me. But here's the thing. One of the beliefs I created for myself is that I'm a learner, which it actually helped me brush off his comments and focus on the lesson I had learned from my mistake, because I had to learn that I needed to pay more attention in this situation. So I reminded myself that I'm a lifelong learner, which that's why I call myself now. And it's true. I like to learn things, so life will give me that knowledge. So that's why I'm a lifelong learner. But in this case, I see every mistake as an opportunity, which it helps, because, like I said, if you don't learn from your mistakes, you're not going to be able to move forward. But here's the thing about this situation, and that's why I want to share it, because my coworker wouldn't let it go. He he wasn't moving on from this particular problem, and because I wasn't paying attention to anything that he was saying, he was getting mad. He was trying to berate me by calling me names like stupid, idiot, all these things. He even went so far as to claim that he will never make that mistake. I was like, oh yeah? I was getting mad at that point. I was like, oh yeah? Now, I could have lashed out. I could have used the sharp tongue I inherited from my mom and torn him to pieces, because I'm good at that. But because I took the time to accept my mistake, I knew I could learn from it. And I started identifying the issues that made me not be able to identify the bad candy. So I worked on that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pay more attention. I'm going to get this shit done. I'm going to make sure that I don't send bad candy again. So what I decided to do in this case with my coworker, I decided to turn the situation into a learning opportunity, for me at least. And I proposed my coworker a bet. I was like, you think you're that good? Put your money where your mouth is. So I suggested that we keep track of our mistakes for the whole month, and whoever made the most mistakes will have to pay the other $100. He accepted. He was like, hell yeah. He was very cocky. He was all like, you better pay me now because you already lost. Like, he was like taunting me. And due to all that fucking taunting that he was giving me, for the whole month, I was like a fucking hawk. I was like, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to see every single fucking problem. And here's the thing. At the end of the month, we tallied up our mistakes. And to my surprise, and it's going to sound like I'm bragging, but yes, I'm bragging. He made 60 mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes, while I only had 15 mistakes. And even more impressively, none of my mistakes were repetitive, whereas many of his were. He kept repeating the same problem or the same mistake over and over, and I didn't. All of my mistakes were new, or at least a one-time thing, because I fixed the problem. So he had to pay me the $100, and and when he did that, I felt so proud. I was like, I knew I could beat his ass. I knew I could prove myself right, because I didn't have to prove him wrong. I just had to prove myself right. And when I do that, or when you do that, you're going to prove everybody else wrong. So if you decide to do that, keep proving yourself right. It feels good. Let me tell you, it feels fucking amazing. But now when I look back at it, I realized that the reason I was able to win was that I knew I could learn from my mistake. And not like my coworker who kept making the same mistake over and over. And if I hadn't had that mindset, I would have made way more mistakes than my coworker in this situation. But here's the thing. Getting to that point in my life was actually challenging. Building myself myself from the ground up has taken a lot of work. It has taken, holy shit, 3 years. I mean, 6 years. Wow. It has taken a long time. And every day I keep growing. Every day I'm building myself up. So it does take a lot of work. It takes a whole life. It takes your whole life if you want to do it. So I had to realize that I didn't know myself at all in order for me to get to this point, which was a hard pill to swallow. It still is stuck on my throat. No matter how many times you try to wash it down, it doesn't go down. So that's one thing that I feel like people don't like to do. They don't like to have that feeling of, ooh, I can't believe I didn't know myself, because people are going to criticize you. But guess what? Deal with the criticism with grace and work on yourself. Don't give a fuck about what everybody else is thinking about you or anything like that, because in my case, I kept at it, and I'm going to keep at it every single day for the rest of my life. And I was able to create my own set of values and beliefs that were true to me, not to anybody else, not to you, not to my family, no, not even to my wife. They were true to me. And that's what helped me win in this situation. That's what has helped me get to this point in my life where I'm able to do so many things that I couldn't do before, because now I live my life on my own terms. So if you decide to get to know yourself and create your own values and beliefs, it's important to remember that you don't have to share your journey with anyone. At least not right away, though. That's one thing that I recommend. Like, keep at it on your own. Don't brag. Don't say anything. Just do it for you and do it alone. Because this process is a personal one. And it's essential to do it on your own without any outside influences or biases. And from my experience, when I was doing this, I was tempted to seek validation from others when I first started getting to know myself. I wanted to, get that assurance where somebody can tell me like, yeah, that's you. That's you did it on your own, Like you're doing this right. I wanted that assurance. But in the end, I realized that I had to do it alone without anyone else's opinions or biases clouding my judgment, including my wife. Like, when I started doing this, I didn't share a lot of stuff with her until I was ready. And believe me, you will know when you're ready. You will know when you're ready. And with that said, I do want to say this to you. It's your journey, and it's important to take the time to do it on your own terms. Don't rush. Don't let anyone else rush you. Do it on your own. Because when you do, you'll be able to come out on the other side with a sense of self that is authentic to you. And people are going to love you, the ones that are closest to you and that want to see you do good. They're going to love it, like your family should love it. Some people are going to stay behind. They're going to be like, oh, you've changed. But yeah, you're going to change to become better. You're going to change to have a better life. So that's what's important. So don't let others cloud your judgment, okay? But one thing that I do want to also mention, or I actually want to ask it in a form of a question. Do you want to know the best part about embarking on a journey like this? The best part about knowing yourself is that it helps us to be more in tune with our emotions and feelings. So we can recognize when we're stressed, overwhelmed, or burned out. And we can take steps to fix it, because now we realize what's going on, what's causing the stress, what you should do. So you're going to take steps to fix it. And we can also see how our actions and words affect others around us, and we can also make the necessary changes to literally not be rude or anything like that. That's another important thing, because this self-awareness makes us easier to talk to and lets us not take jokes personally, so we can enjoy time with our friends, coworkers, and family. And that's what I wanted to share on today's episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the growth and the feedback. I really love your feedback. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The link is in the episode's description. And here are my final thoughts. You must know who you are in order to reach whatever destination you want to get to. And have a great day.